Well, good morning, YouTube. We had a pretty good rain last night. So I said I was going to try and trade my 35s for some 33s. And guess what? I got a good set of 33s for this thing. Ended up with the General Grabber ATXs in the 33 1250 15. And I like them. They're brand new. And man, it rides so much better. I can actually use fifth gear. So this morning what I'm going to do though is I've been running that 6.5 gear in my transfer case for about a week. I've put over 100 miles on it. I want to change the oil. So just going to dump the oil out of it and put some fresh oil in it, get any kind of dirt or shavings or anything that went along with the rebuild on my tailgate of my truck. So come along. Let's change some oil. All right, let's hope for no metal shavings. Shoot, looks pretty good to me. When that gear was going out, it sounded horrible. It was whining real bad, and I dumped the oil, man. When I dumped that oil, oh god, it looked like somebody put about a pound of glitter in that oil. It was pretty wild. But this looks pretty good. Looks like what I would expect from a new rebuild. Got a couple little flakes, but I don't know if that was just residual left over from the old, because I didn't really clean the magnet on here. I mean, I just kind of wiped it off, but there's like some little pieces in here. I'll clean it real good, and I'll probably run it, 1,000 miles or so and dump the oil again and see what's up. But I think we did a good job. Oil looks good. Man, these little Samurai transfer cases are pretty simple. Pulled apart a couple of Chevy transfer cases, and I don't know, my tracker transfer case, I put a 3-to-1 gear in it just the other day. It's real similar to the tracker transfer case. But pretty straightforward. Just popped it apart, press the bearings off, press bearings on. All right. Oil looks good, no big chunks. Got it. All right. All right, let's take it for a little test spin and see what's up. That was cold start, by the way. So, I got that Toyota 3K carburetor kit, and it's got a manual choke. It's not real cold out right now, but I always engage it whenever I start it. It seems to start better with that choke engaged. But right now I've got 47,600 miles. When I bought this, it came with a service sticker that said 47,594. So basically right now, service it now, but I serviced it 1,000 miles ago. Whenever I bought it, it had 384 or something like that. So I put 1,000 miles on this thing, and I bought it in March of this year, 2021, and I've put 1,000 miles on it. I've been daily driving it to work. In that time, I've done a full bearing and seal replacement, and all the bearings in the front end, bearings in the rear end. I've pulled the rear diff a couple of times. When I first got it, it had an oil leak in the rear diff on the third member, and some of the bolts were loose, and I think that's all it was. But I went ahead and pulled it, cleaned all the gasket material off, and put some right stuff on it and put it back together. But I got a locker, so I've since pulled it again and put the locker in it. So I pulled the transfer case out of it and put the 6.5 to 1 gear set in it, and changed the oil a couple of times just because I didn't know. Whenever I first got it, I changed the engine oil, but didn't know what the history was, even though it said that it had a oil change due in 1,000 miles. But the thing is, the guy I got it from bought it in about 2017, and he hardly drove it, so it still had 1,000 miles left on the oil change from 2017. So the oil change, it says 7/28/2015 was the last time they changed the oil. So I've been taking some pretty good records of what all I've done to this thing. Got the Toyota 3K on it. It got rid of all the emissions junk. Like I said, changed the transfer case gear ratio, and threw a locker in it. I've replaced all the kingpin bearings and all the front end stuff. It had really bad death wobble. Oh, and it needed the bushing in the transmission because it was the shifter was real loose. So I did that as well. Aside from that, I just put some tires on it, and I've been driving it. So that's kind of a little update of what's going on with this little Samurai. Let's see if we can get her to go down the road. I like to warm it up, get that carburetor nice and warm before I take off. Oh, you hear my Spartan locker. Bang, bang. just got up to about 70 miles an hour just now in 5th gear. And fastest I've been in this with this gear is 72 miles an hour. So, you know, on a straightaway, it'll do 72, about 4,500 RPMs in 5th gear. So, I mean, I couldn't really ask for much more than that. It's a little squirrely going down the highway. Everybody who I tell that I've gone 72 miles an hour in this, they're like, that has got to be sketchy. But it is what it is, right? We all can't live that life in that slow lane. All right, so my impressions of the 6.5 are, I really like it, especially with the 33s. Them General Grabber ATXs are really nice. Real deep lugs on them. So it's an all-terrain, but I mean, I'm just driving this on the street for the most part. If I'm gonna go wheeling, I'm bringing that. But kind of like the little package, man. I got about $7,000 in this thing, and with the Toyota 3K carb and manual choke, some all-terrain tires, and going through everything. About the only thing that I need to address is the steering. So it's got manual steering, nothing wrong with that, but eventually I'm gonna do power steering. I'm not sure, but Randy Gibbs over on the Facebook pages said that I should look into getting a Chevelle manual steering box, and he said he's been running one for like 15-20 years. And I talked to Todd, and he said he's got about 4 of them. So my next project, I think, is to find a manual steering box over at Todd's house, and then go through it, make sure it's all sealed up and isn't loose, and maybe install that. So that's a little update for you. Really appreciate all the support I'm getting, and thanks for watching my videos. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll keep posting videos if y'all want me to. Peace out.